hi to everyone who's joining us also from YouTube. Lovely family out there on YouTube. So thank you. मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है जब ऐसे कुछ लोग होते हैं जो मुझ पर बिलीव करते हैं, जो होपफुली हमारे पॉडकास्ट को इन्जॉय करते हैं. आप में से कितने सारे लोग बोलते हैं कहाँ पर देखें, आपने कहीं होस्ट किया है क्या? सो ऑफ कोर्स वी होस्टेड ऑन YouTube, as so many of you know. Do you guys like the lip color? I've just started like experimenting with it. Let me know. So the guest for today is here. I'm just going to invite her in very quickly. Very excited to speak with her. Just give me a moment.
Hi,
Hi.
finally.
Was it a struggle?
No, so my phone suddenly, exactly at 7 o'clock, decided to update its system. And I had no option but to get it done. So that's why I was sending him messages on WhatsApp. I'm like, what's happening? Anywho,
Okay.
here I am.
Cool. Yes, finally. And we've been wanting to do this for so long. So I'm just so happy that we could finally bring you on and very excited to speak with you.
So happy we are doing this. I've been looking forward to this too. So what have I missed? I'm sorry, it's been a couple of minutes since you started, I think.
And now is the time when I will, just share introductions. Of course, no introductions really needed.
Mhm.
Prachi's been part of, I think, been like a public figure for a very long time. A lot of you may have seen her on Roadies 11.
Eight.
Some of Roadies
Really,
8.
really
Oh, no,
great.
sorry, Roadies 8. So Roadies 8, and she's recently, I think, always been sort of exploring so many different facets of her personality, right from skincare to makeup to, right now, I think a lot of changes that are going on personally. And it's always, I guess, been about finding yourselves in terms of who you are at that point in time. And that exactly is what Rare Reach also hopes to stand for, Prachi, which is that a lot of us short girls have sort of felt that maybe we are not enough, or we've been made to feel that way. But then there are inspiring women like yourselves who are like, listen, this is who I am. I am going to be the boss of my life. I'm going to decide what I want to do, what I like, what I don't like, what I don't like. And nobody tells me any other way, right? So it's just through you. I hope that a lot of young girls, older women just find a lot of motivation, inspiration to own themselves fully.
Thank you. I absolutely love what Rare Reach has been doing because I'm quite short myself. I don't look like it on camera, but I've always been very vocal about it. So, and yeah, I think why not? We are awesome. Like they say, good things come in small packages. So
Yes,
that's
yes.
definitely the start of it all. When you start owning your body and how you look, that's just how confidence begins. That's where you start.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So again, guys, it's going to be a session where we're going to uncover a lot of parts of what Prachi's journey has been about. How is it that she continues to find herself? What is it that she feels she stands for today? What her, different phases of her journey have been. It's going to be interactive. So जो भी आपके questions हैं, please do keep on asking them. And as in how we go, we're going to cover some of those questions. There are people who are saying, ma'am, we've been following you for 10 years. So clearly there are a lot of people who are very excited to know your
Thank
journey
you.
for such
Thank you
long
for
time.
that. It's been a very
Yeah.
long journey. I've been seeing the messages. Yes.
Yes, and love from all around the world. So lovely. Okay, so on that note, I'm just gonna get started with how I guess perhaps your public journey started, which was on Roadies 8, right? And at that time, I remember it was like this enigma of a show, like to be on Roadies, to audition for it was a thing. And the first thing was even to have the courage to audition and be on a show like Roadies, where you're just your bindas self, was something that few people could do. And a lot of parents would just be like, अरे यार ये मतलब this is नहीं बेटा पहली बार टीवी पे नहीं आना फिर रोडीज पे नहीं आना. But the brave heart that you are, I guess this was the start of us knowing that Prachi does what she wants to do. So how did that happen for you? And do you feel that it shaped you in a way, in any way that you still hold like pieces of your roadies journey with you today?
Wow. So when I went for Roadies, yes, I agree. It was such a big deal. And there were like about 3,000 people auditioning from Kolkata. I was in Kolkata that time. And I was the only one who got selected that year. So that was like huge. My parents weren't very happy about it. But then, me and my brother, we convinced them. To answer your question, how has it shaped me, my journey? Honestly, I think Roadies has been the biggest factor, but not in a way that people usually would assume. So after Roadies or any reality TV show, right, something that people don't realize, you get famous overnight, you're prepared for it. So I went for the audition, the show happened, the shoot and everything, and then it was aired on television. My audition was aired. Now just imagine this. One evening, there I am watching TV with my family and like excited, oh my God, I'm on TV. Next morning, my friends are like, Prachi, chal, let's go to McDonald's. We used to love going to McDonald's that time. I'm like, okay, let's go to McDonald's. And this is just the next morning. I go to McDonald's with my friends, and suddenly I realize everyone is looking at me. I'm like, what happened? So I know I was on TV, but before I could register it. And then suddenly some kids in the next table, they start talking about Rodis and Raghu and Rajiv and Ranvijay. I'm like, oh my God, am I already getting recognized? It's that sudden. And I was very young, so it also comes as a shock. Like, it's going to happen, but when it happens, it's still a shock. And my entire life changed like overnight. Suddenly I couldn't go to college. I wanted to take up this job on the side, and I couldn't do that. And, I couldn't even go to my balcony for a while because there would be people standing. So I kind of got really overwhelmed and I got into my own shell. I went into a major depression actually because it was really scary. And long story short, I had to do something, and YouTube was just entering the space then. So for the first 1 year, I was just making YouTube videos just for fun without showing my face because I didn't want anyone to recognize me. But that's kind of where my content creation journey actually started, which is so crazy. I mean, people would think that, because of the Roadies fame, I got into content creation and used my fame for that. It was quite the opposite. I was trying to run away from it. So I started showing my face eventually when brand collaborations started coming in, when people started liking my work online. I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe I do deserve this fame after all. But yeah, Roadies has definitely played a huge part. It was, I think, a big turning point in my life.
Lovely, and how interesting that things just change overnight for you, and
It's
maybe
crazy. It's
yeah,
crazy. Yeah.
very interesting, and like that's a good segue into how your content creation journey started. So I know that you were creating sort of like a faceless internet personality in the beginning, I guess, and then
Yes.
happened Super Wow Style, and I think that has also transitioned through different chapters of your life. So
Yes.
why do you call it Super Wow Style? And then
So lame. Oh my
how has
God. I
that
hate it.
sorry.
Sorry, go on, go on.
Okay, and how has that represented you across and continues to represent you across every touch point in your journey?
Okay, so first of all, like I was saying, superpower style, I find that so lame. I don't know what I was thinking. I was in this whole, Marvel comics and this, that, and all the superhero phase. Like, I'll call myself superpower style. I really didn't think this would become a thing, or this would turn into a career, to be honest. I was just killing time. But now it's become like a keyword, and everyone knows superpower style. At least my viewers know superpower style. My clients know superpower. It's just stuck around. I hate it. But yeah, it's just. Sorry, what was your question after that? Superpower
I mean,
style, and
it's
then.
it's transition. You've done so many different. You've used
Mm,
that medium
yeah.
for so many
Yes.
different aspects of your personality. So how has that been for you? And what do you think it stands for today?
So it started with nail art where I was not showing my face. I would just show my nails and I would do art on my nails. Those videos were pretty cool actually. Not the first few videos, but later. So I was doing nail art, and then I don't know, I was always interested in beauty, skincare. So one day I just shared some video and I realized that my audience actually likes it. So I'm like, okay, let's do more of this. This is fun. I also enjoy it. On the side, now before I quit my studies, I was actually studying psychology, and it's still something that I'm very, very passionate about. So I'm like, I also want to talk a little bit about psychology. I mean, it's great to talk about skincare, hair care, makeup, but I also want to give back to the society and talk about causes issues. So from there, I also moved into another channel called Smile with Prachi, where I would read letters from my viewers. We would talk about, like we had the Agni Aunt columns back in the days on magazines. Something very similar, but more of a digital version of it. That was Smile with Prachi. As of now, I think Superpower Style just stands for a little bit of everything, little fragments of who I am as a person. On Instagram, it's been more of a playground for me, but with time, I've started talking more about myself and my journey because I'm realizing that we need to talk about it. I recently got divorced, and you guys probably already know this. So that's something I feel like doesn't get talked about enough on social media. So as an extension of Smile with Prachi and owning my journey, that's another thing it stands for now. So yeah, that's been Superpower Style, I guess.
No, amazing. It's like how as kids we created email IDs, and some of us still to those email
The
IDs.
embarrassing ones. Yes, oh, I love it. I'm going to say that the next time anyone asks me about Superpower Style.
It's like yeah. But interesting, I've seen creators sharing like this is how we started. And this is
Yeah.
where we are now. So I will definitely be like going back to your journey and seeing, okay, where is that
Oh God.
starter
Yeah.
video?
It
I'm
was
sure a lot of people who are
crazy.
watching are going to do that.
Probably, yeah. I do still get views on that video actually, and it's like really old. Yeah.
Lovely, lovely. And I think, like you mentioned, you started, with you started talking about beauty, skincare, sort of giving back to people, and also hearing what their stories were, what they needed help with. Um, that basically, I think there are a lot of people who even today struggle with what they've heard. Somebody telling them, यार थोड़ी पतली होती तो अच्छी होती, थोड़ी लंबी होती तो अच्छी होती, उसकी स्किन फेयर नहीं है, बेसन रगड़ दो उसके फेस पे.
Mm.
Have you unfortunately heard any of those comments about your body, or was it a part of the kind of comments that you received on your channel, or was it that something people who were writing to you, were they saying something like this, sharing something like this with you?
So I think this is true for every woman, every girl. We all have been body shamed. Every single, I mean, come on, even Ashwarya Rai gets body shamed and trolled on the internet, for putting on a little bit of weight, especially after her pregnancy. If you remember, oh my God, it was brutal. So nobody gets spared. Okay, let's be very clear about that. I have been obviously body shamed for my height, and because I'm very skinny. Now, not so much, but I was always the skinny child. So, I was skinny shamed. I was shamed for my nose, and people have all sorts of things to say. And this is not just talking about the haters on the internet. That's a whole different story. And, after a while as content creators, we just see that as noise. So that doesn't even bother me. But sometimes these hate comments come from people that are very, very close to you, people who you love, people who should be protecting you. And I think that is where it really impacts you sometimes, because those people hold that power over you. To all the people who are watching this, especially women, but also I guess for men, right? Anybody who is getting body shamed, I think you always start by asking this question: why? If anyone says you should be more fair, for instance, just ask why. Or why does it matter? You realize that a lot of times people, when they make comments about you, especially about your appearance, it's really not based on facts, it's based on their own prejudice. And that's the extent of their thinking. That doesn't make it right. That's their point of view and that's their prejudice. If you open up your eyes, see the world, you see there are women of all shapes, sizes, skin color rocking it. There's so many examples. Just choose your role model and go with that. That's what I did, and I think that really helped me. Yeah.
That's very powerful. It's
Yeah.
almost like a comeback, Prachi, what you said. I was like questioning them, na kyun? And then maybe a
Yeah.
lot of people will not have answers to these questions and these random statements that they just make.
Yeah.
And you're right. I think there are so many young girls that I've met who've said that, my mother said something to me at when I was 10. And because she said, maybe let's say that your arms don't look very nice, I've
Yeah.
never had the courage to wear cut sleeves clothes. I always want to cover my arms. So we don't
Yeah.
even know where that houses in our, like how we internalize it and how long we carry it forward. So yeah, thank you for sharing. Hopefully people.
Sometimes it stays with you forever. Like there are women who are like in their 60s, 70s, still carrying that shame from childhood. And it's so sad. It's so sad. Once this mother came to me, she was one of my neighbors, and she heard that I do this whole beauty blogging thing. And one day she comes with a daughter, a teenage daughter, and a beautiful child, very smart, good looking, great personality. And she sits down in front of me with her child and she's like, Prachi, batao na, tell me what to do with this one. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, look at her. She's getting all tanned and dark and she's looking so bad because she plays basketball. I'm like, oh God. My child is looking at me. I'm like, listen, your child looks great. I really wanted to hug that girl and tell her your mom is crazy, but obviously I couldn't do that. It's just so sad and so damaging. It makes me so angry.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. And sometimes parents don't realize what their statements can do. But now that these conversations are happening, hopefully people are able to unlearn and find, like, it's always about, somebody said to me one thing, ki, unfortunately for us, we have one insecurity, we let go of that insecurity because we pick up another. So that's really what's happening. You have somebody is insecure about one thing, and then suddenly they're like, "Acha, I've forgotten this." So, for example, I always had insecurity about my height. When I let go of that insecurity, suddenly I had an insecurity about my career. When I let go of that, maybe I'll have an insecurity about aging. So it's just very interesting how we don't even realize, but we're just jumping from one thing that we can feel bad about, make ourselves feel bad about, to another.
Wow. I think it doesn't always have to be like that, though.
Yeah.
I agree with what you're saying. I guess we all are constantly, in a very plain way, looking for problems, I think, challenges and problems. But yeah, I think once you learn to sit with the discomfort of that feeling, it starts to go away. For me, I think it existed for a very, very long time. But I don't know, once I started just really not giving a damn, it really starts to go away, I guess, but it's a journey. It's a journey.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And on this journey of, I guess, making yourselves uncomfortable, recently you've come out publicly to talk about how you took a bold decision, which sadly, even today in our country, a lot of women don't take, which is to decide, listen, I want to part ways with my partner. This is just not working out for whatever reason, whoever's mistake. And sometimes even like just compatibility. But people are just like, for XY reason, for the society, for my parents, for the money we've invested in getting married, I just have to stay in this relationship. And we try, and it's like sunk cost for a lot of But also, कि ठीक है, we've invested in this, so now we have to try and
You have
revive
to.
it somehow.
Mm.
Now that you've taken this decision, what do you feel about love? What do you feel about identity? How have you evolved when it comes to this whole aspect of letting go? To your point on making yourselves uncomfortable.
Honestly, I don't think I'm in a position to really talk too much about this because I'm still in that healing phase right now. For me, the divorce was very, very recent. It's just been a couple of weeks, few months. By a few months, I don't mean a lot of few months, just a few months. So there are days when I'm like just really angry about everything, and there are days when I'm like, you know what, this is fine. There are days when I'm also like, hey, it's an adventure. Life is an adventure. Let's just look at it that way. Um, but I totally agree with you on one thing that a lot of people are still afraid to take this decision. And look, first of all, it is a hard decision. And yes, a person should think for at least 1,000 times before filing for a divorce. It's not something that you should just, go for. But the whole idea in a society even today is that unless you're getting abused, and abuse means physically abused, right? Not even mentally abused. Unless you're getting physically abused very, very badly, you can't even think of a divorce. What if me and my partner are just not getting along anymore? We are looking at life in very different ways. You're not happy and you've tried to work it out. It's not working out. So there's a lot of stigma around it. And yes, people also look at, like you said, some cost analysis. A lot of people are also looking at how much time, effort, money, whatever they have invested. Yes, it's a scary decision. But I think at some point, for anything in your life, you have to keep looking at your life decisions and asking yourself, is this working for me right now? Does this serve me? Is this how I want to continue my life? And if the answer is no again and again, then it's okay to leave. That's what I would always say. Try to work on your marriage first, but if it's not working out, it's okay to leave. And the reason that I'm not happy enough is a good enough reason.
Absolutely. And to everyone who is, I think even now I'm seeing a lot of very interesting opinions. So it's a very clear reflection of how people think. There are a lot of women out here who are defending you also. And then there are a lot of, sadly, also women who have these. Sorry, I get like a bit emotional on these things, but
No, don't,
guys,
don't. Don't,
everybody.
absolutely. Because I'll tell you, okay, first of all, don't be emotional for me because as content creators for us, when we see hate comments, it's noise. It's like, when you are writing an exam and there is like fan moving and it's making some sound, right? You don't even notice it. Your brain naturally starts filtering it out. And secondly, see, I can always delete those comments. I can block those comments. I can mute the comment section of my videos. It's not that I'm not aware of the hate comments I'm getting, but I want to keep it on because it shows what the society is really all about. Even if it's a fake profile, there is a real human being behind that fake profile, right? These are not bots, these are real humans. And it's very important to have that out there because without that, I'm hiding, I'm running away from what the reality is. Let others also see because this is what we need to clean up. This is what we need to work on. And I think it's fine. It's fine because this is the world that we live in. So as long as I'm not running away from it, as long as I'm facing it and it's not bothering me, it's okay.
Absolutely. And guys, it's not easy. Yeah. Even though what you're saying is very true, Prachi, I think we are all humans. At some
takes time to
point,
break up. It takes time to.
yeah. I mean, how can we just be so hateful? And how can we have an opinion on something that is none of our business? But I guess it's okay.
No, it's okay. Trust me. Like it's hard to understand unless and until you've been in this position. You really don't. It's like the brain just filters it out automatically.
Yeah.
So it's fine.
Yeah, I just love the fact that there's so much love coming your way.
That too.
Big hugs on everyone who's there, and please,
Thank you.
lots of love.
Yes.
Now on the topic of healing, since you mentioned that right now this is the phase where you're healing. How there are two different ways, and since you mentioned that you've always been a student of or interested in psychology, one thing is I am moving away from a person. One thing is I am moving closer to myself. So, what do you think this healing journey looks like for you?
I think moving closer to yourself has to be a part of your life throughout, throughout. Whether you're healing, whether you are, in a space where things are fine, you're always finding who you are because as humans, we are constantly growing, evolving in our, in our thoughts, in our choices, whatever it is. So moving towards yourself has to be a consistent thing that you do throughout your life. Right now, yes, I'm consciously practicing being extra kind, extra soft, extra gentle with myself, taking a lot of time off. Like I'm someone who's always like worked very hard and been, very aggressive about my goals. Right now, I don't have the mental bandwidth. The stress is so much on some days. I just cannot function. So on those days, I'll just take the day off, and I will take it easy on myself. So that's definitely a very big part of the healing journey. As for moving away from a person, yes, that also needs to be done, because like for example, I was married for almost 9 years. Now that's a really long time, right, of being with someone. So anyone who's going through separation, divorce, breakup of any kind, or someone who has lost their partners to death, or anything of that sort as well, right? Um, there are routines, there are plans, there are dreams, aspirations. There are things that you're looking forward to doing with that person. Now, all of that has come to a screeching halt. So you have to consciously rewire your brain, and it's a lot of effort. People just say, "Don't think about it, get over it." It doesn't happen because your brain is used to it. There is a certain conditioning that happens, right? I can go into the whole psychology of it, but don't think I should. Let's just put it this way: you see a birthday cake, you feel happy, or you see a cake, you feel happy. Why? Because whenever you've seen a cake, it's associated with a birthday. It's associated with some kind of a celebration. So that is your brain looking at cake and feeling happy. That's conditioning. The same way, there is a lot of conditioning included in that relationship that has happened with the time that you've spent. So you have to rewire, you have to retrain your brain. It takes time. So you have to do this consciously. And I keep saying this on my page as well. Therapy is for everyone. I started therapy even before filing for my divorce because I knew I would need it. I'm so glad. So anyone who feels like this or even otherwise, therapy is a great thing. Just do it.
Lovely. And thank you for sharing that. I think there are a lot of questions that are coming around. What is the right time? When is it that we know that this is the decision to make? So thank you, ladies and gents, for those questions. We definitely are parking them in, and we will definitely be taking some of those questions. So my next question is that, like you mentioned, it's a long journey, it's a difficult journey, pre, during, post, and not every day it is. Even if whatever it is in life, we do come across hurdles, and not every day is the same. There are some hard days and there are some extremely hard days. And you said that people just say get over it, ठीक है, feel better, इससे बाहर आ जाओ, depression कुछ नहीं होता. All these flashing statements that people make very easily. And there's this expectation कि यार थोड़े टाइम के बाद में अब ठीक है, हो गया, तुम सैड हो गए हो, अब तुम हैप्पी हो जाओ. But what is your take? And on days when you're not feeling okay, what is it that you do? What is it that you tell yourselves?
Okay. So first thing, you need to understand that healing will not be linear. It will not be this. It will be this, but then gradually you'll end up getting here. So just understanding that helps you tremendously. I cannot stress this enough. It's kind of like knowing that, just before your periods, you will be having mood swings. So when you know it, it's just easy to forgive yourself for it, and you're better prepared for it, right? So first is understanding that. Second is, of course, you start therapy because it just helps you in managing those off moods. Therapy helps you deal with things like anger, understand your trigger points, things like that. It also really, really helps. It really helps to have at least one or two close friends who you can talk to. A lot of people are also talking to ChatGPT these days. And while I will not say that you talk to ChatGPT all the time or get too dependent on it, I think once in a while it's not a bad idea, to be very honest, because in general I've seen ChatGPT to be quite intelligent, but you also need to be careful that you're speaking to AI, and sometimes it'll be all rubbish. So you have to be mindful, but it's okay once in a while, right? More importantly, when I'm feeling bad and I'm feeling down, I just, like I said, take it easy, make coffee or just go for a little swim, or just watch something on TV. Off late, I've been watching this Korean series. I generally don't do that, but it's been so comforting to watch, right? Order some food, order some chocolates, anything that helps you. These things instantly, like even scientifically, it has been seen, right? Instantly, eating a little bit of sugar, some carbs can actually uplift your mood. And scented candles help me a lot. So little things of, self-care and comfort that we talk about on Instagram, the cliched things, they help you. It's temporary. It's not your healing. It's not the entire thing. But on bad days, they can help you. However, if you feel that you're having too many bad days, or if you start having thoughts of suicide, because that's very, very common when you're going through something like this, then you absolutely need to double down on therapy. Also speak to a psychiatrist, start on medications. There is no shame in it. Mental health is a very, very real thing. And it's okay to own it. I mean, you're doing this for yourself. Also, on that note, just to deviate from the topic, but I must talk about this. A lot of people ask me that, Prachi, I can't see a psychiatrist because my family is against it, or people will judge me. People don't need to know. You can book your session even online. Nobody needs to know. This is a very, very personal thing. And your therapist, your psychiatrist, especially if you're an adult, they cannot tell anyone about this, So it's fine. You're safe. Just do it. Do it for yourself.
Okay. That's, again, very, very nice advice. And it's very sweet also, Prachi. I just, you have that moment of, oh, it's really sweet that, for one, I want to know which Korean series you're watching. But that part, just like pampering yourself, being kind to yourself. That's really what it takes sometimes. So, guys, if you're feeling low on one particular day, please don't have this pressure of मुझे जल्दी से ठीक हो जाना
Yeah.
है, मुझे जल्दी से smile करना है. Just feel whatever you're feeling. Prachi, for me, it's been very hard ever since I started Rare Reach. I had no clue about fashion before this. I did study from Lift, but I never worked in this industry. So just to build like a fashion label, I have my days where I lose my confidence, right? And everything is going under the table. You know, you just don't know what's happening with you. There's so much money that you're spending, and it's all your life savings. So I actually keep days now where I just cry. It's like this is time blocked in my calendar where I just want to cry and like release everything that I'm going through, because some days are very hard also. So it's just like whatever helps you, you know, like if that, and that really helps me. Once I've cried, I just feel like, okay, abhi ho gaya. Now I'll sleep, I'll get up, and I'll hopefully feel like I don't have that heaviness, you know, that one feels. Yeah.
But if you have noticed that there are certain things that are constantly triggering you, you know, over and over again, it's important to look into it and see what that trigger point is. You know, like fleetingly, yes, we all have our bad days, and it will happen. It will happen. It's completely normal. But if there are like one or two things, or one or two people, or one or two thoughts that, you know, sometimes they just overwhelm you, and make it impossible for you to function throughout the day. If it's happening again and again, that means that there is a deeper concern,
to it,
and
yeah.
that needs to be fixed, because that will help you. You know, it's not like you are a bad person for feeling that. It's just there. So what does it represent? So that's something that, again, I don't know what your concerns are really, but for anyone who's going through something like this, I would say that try to figure it out. If you can't, again, therapy. I love recommending therapy to people all the time. I hope, I really wish it gets normalized in the world that we live in. Why are we not normalizing therapy yet? I don't understand.
Absolutely. And a lot of people also feel like, yaar, is pe paise kyun kharchne hain? And I'm just like,
It is expensive. It is
it is
expensive.
expensive. Yep. But also, maybe at some points it is a worthy investment. Like,
Bro, you go for one night out with friends and have like, you know, three pegs of your daru.
Yeah.
You end up spending more on that. I'm not saying therapy is not expensive, but I mean, if it's a physical ailment, people are very easily spending that kind of money, right? Because karna hai, you have to. Mental health is also very, very important. Mental health also takes people's lives. It is something which can be that serious if not treated. So why not?
And a lot of people also, when they don't take care of something that's hurting them emotionally, it
Yes.
actually starts to fester physically as well.
Yes.
So they'll have
Yes.
like these ghost pains, they'll have like some kind of a reaction, some immunity issues, and
Yeah.
eventually it all, you know, rolls down to something that you've held on to emotionally. So it can really get that deep. So hopefully these are choices, guys. Like, it's on you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Completely.
if you see, there's so many women, especially in our parents' generation, right? Almost every woman that I know, almost, she has blood pressure, thyroid. Now, of course, sometimes these are genuinely physical concerns. But in most of these cases, when you sit down with these women and you start talking to them, you realize that there is so much that they have been carrying throughout decades. You know, their feelings have been invalidated for years after years, and that's how it starts manifesting, and eventually it becomes chronic diseases. When you're not happy, like there is so much science to actually prove this. A lot of your health issues stem from your, you know, poor mental health. So it is so important to take care of your mental health. Absolutely. Yeah.
I completely agree. And to everyone who's listening to this, please, try it once. I think that will only tell you the difference. That's all it takes. Just one time that you invest in yourselves in a very meaningful way. Okay. So my next segment of questions are sort of more rapid fire oriented. So fast.
Oh, rapid fire scares me. Okay.
No.
I said, can I cheat?
No time to cheat. But
right.
Yeah, I think they're just like interesting questions. So I come back to my first question, which is the Korean show that you're watching right now.
It's called Bon Appetit, Your Majesty. It's cute. It's lame. I like it.
Netflix. Yes.
You've seen it, is it?
I love Korean shows. I haven't seen it, but I just saw that it's in the Netflix top 10. So it's also on my watch list. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do you recommend?
It's cute. I mean, it's mindless, cute, whatever, you know, if you just want, it's a Korean show, so.
Good, yeah.
Really good, yeah.
Okay. If you could relive one moment from your content journey, what would it be?
Wow. I think when I hit 1 million on my YouTube, that was really special. I think that one. Yeah.
Okay. What's one unpopular opinion that you have that is, you know, about life or relationships? People don't really stand by that, but you do.
I think it's okay to give up sometimes. You know, if you try again, and after a while, if you feel like you're losing interest, it's not working out, it's okay to give up. Don't have to be ridiculous about it. Your whole life does not have to be tied down to that one thing that you once wanted. It's okay. Move on.
No sunk cost syndromes. What's one thing you learned about yourself this year that really surprised you?
That I can actually do it. I've done a lot of things this year that I always thought I could never do, but I've done it. So it's given me immense confidence. Yeah.
Fantastic. She's such a boss girl. Okay, a quote that always brings you back to yourself.
So when I was in school, this was actually said in my school assembly. One time I was paying attention, but this quote was really nice. It said, "I was a free thinker before I learned how to think." You know. So
Oh, shit. Oh, wow. Okay.
yeah, it's so beautiful, and it's a quote that just kind of plays on my mind a lot, and it's so beautiful.
I love that. Amazing. My question was, since you said that there is a certain affinity that you have to Super Wow style, if that were not your handle, what would it be?
Oh wow, I'm really bad at giving names, but so my other YouTube page is called Smile with Prachi. I probably would have just gone with that. In fact, I still feel like maybe I should change my Instagram handle to Smile with Prachi, but Super Wow style is what people recognize more. So yeah, maybe just that. I don't know.
Okay, okay. So I guess what I'm hearing is that now it's become a part of sort of who you are, and it is the way for you to express yourself. So that's
Yeah,
lovely.
it is what it is. I mean, it's been around for like 15 years almost, so I really don't think I can change Super Wow style at this point. Yeah.
Okay, lovely. We love who we are. Okay, so now I'm just going to start taking some questions. And guys, we're trying to keep it very, very respectful. So I'll try and take questions that help you. So the first question is, how did you shortlist your therapist? And would you mind sharing their name if he or she is good?
Okay. So I've actually found my therapist through my psychiatrist. A lot of people don't understand this. So a psychiatrist is the one who will prescribe you medications. They also do a bit of talk therapy, but they are mostly there to give you medications. So I first went to my psychiatrist for a diagnosis. I thought I want medications, and that's the easy way out. Not the right way of looking at things, but that's what it was for me. And then my psychiatrist, after my diagnosis, she said, "Okay, this therapist that I know of, we'll work together. Let me refer you to her. She's really good for your condition." And that's how I discovered my therapist. The name of my therapist is Dr. Renu George. Dr. Renu George. You can find her on Practo as well, although she's super busy. It's impossibly hard to get an appointment with her these days, but that's because she's amazing. So, for a lot of people, I would suggest you do the same thing. If you feel that, your condition is something which could also be treated with medications, or you might need medications, you can actually go to a psychiatrist first. And it's always good if they both work together, your psychiatrist and your therapist. Interestingly, though, I'm not on any medications anymore. I'm just doing therapy. But for a lot of people, that works. So,
Okay, and
yeah.
for people who may be joining us from different parts of the country,
Mhm.
they may not be based locally in a particular city, right? So does online counseling also work in your experience or in your opinion?
Yes, I mean, but Dr. Renu George, she mostly does online sessions only. Otherwise, I mean, she's not the only therapist, of course. What I would suggest is go on Practo. I'm sure everyone has heard of Practo. If you haven't, it's Practo. It's a website
I
where
said that.
doctors list themselves. And what you can do is you can actually go through the profiles of all the therapists. They list their specialization. There are reviews, ratings, what their consultation fees are, where they sit out of, all the details. So, for example, if someone is dealing with, like, say, if you're concerned about your career, okay, going to someone who deals more with child psychology, or someone who deals with divorce related therapy, that person would not be the right fit for you. So you look for someone who actually is dealing with your kind of concerns. That just helps you find a better fit. And of course, like we just discussed, therapy can be expensive. So you can see the ratings, reviews, as well as their experience, how many years of experience they have, and also see how much they are charging and decide what works for you. So go on Practo. That's what I would always recommend. Oh, Red Reach, Print Practo.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the place to go to, guys. And a lot of filters for you to select who might be the right person for you to
Yeah.
work with.
Yeah.
The next question is, and I'm so sorry. I'm also in a toxic relationship. Here, it's an abusive marriage.
Okay. See, if it's physically abusive, you need to leave immediately, because that's dangerous for you. If you feel that this is like an ongoing, mental stress slash abuse kind of a situation, I would always suggest first figure out your finances. That is very, very important. Uh, Speak to a lawyer before you tell your partner that you want to file for a divorce. It helps you understand your legal situation much better. Since your partner does not know that you're thinking of a divorce, it just kind of gives you a little extra edge to plan things better for yourself. Because see, once you both have decided that you want to go for a divorce, you both are fighting against each other, and that makes things very, very hard. Also, it's I mean, I hope you have support of your parents. I really, really hope, because that can help tremendously. If not, then find your support system and start therapy. So do all of that, do your background work, and then file for a divorce is what I would suggest. But if it's a dangerous situation, if it's gone really, really bad, you need to leave immediately. Then you have to.
Okay. And again, so sorry.
Yeah.
How do you handle comments from relatives, especially your cousins? I'm guessing just very close relatives, and comments on your choices, people who judge you.
Yeah. Honestly, this is not just something that should be flying only on social media. This is something that we really need to incorporate into your lives, into our lives. Let go of the toxic people. Absolutely. I'm not saying that you need to let go of anybody that you're not getting along with. Every relationship takes work, okay? But if someone's really toxic for you, someone's constantly being mean to you, it's okay to let them go. I don't speak to half of my relatives, and I have no shame talking about this on social media. It's totally fine, because it's not good for my mental health. And the ones who are like, you know, just learn to answer them back. If you feel that you can, if you can be a little sarcastic, a little bit rude, if you think you are that person, if it's not going to keep playing on your mind, learn to answer back. That also helps to shut people out. It's okay. You can be rude with people who are rude to you. Don't overthink this.
Lovely. Protect your boundaries. Draw those
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
At what point in a relationship can one decide to call it quits? How long to keep trying? These are amazing questions. They
Such a
are,
good question.
yeah,
Yeah.
like somebody's really, I think, gone through these decision trees in their mind and still
And
trying
it's
to.
such a hard space to be in. Like when you're asking these questions, that confusion, that space is a very, very difficult place to be in. I'll tell you what made me take my decision, and I think that's what I would recommend to everyone. When you realize that this cannot be fixed, that this is not going to change, this will not work out. Uh, till then, you keep trying, and it's very hard to even find that place, because you're also in denial. You're also trying to convince yourself, no, this can be worked out. So you have to ask yourself, have I tried enough? If I look back tomorrow, would I still think that maybe there was a way out? The day I felt, what, this is not going to get fixed. We are not going to look at things the same way, and it's not going to happen. I also asked myself, Prachi, one day if you look back 10 years down the line, because we did have a good marriage for a big part of it. It's not like we were constantly fighting. Like, no, I will not regret this decision. I really know it in my heart. That's when you call it quits. Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess what you're saying, Prachi, is that you will come to it eventually. Like something inside you will tell you, okay, it's just not going to
Yeah.
work.
Yeah. And don't be in denial. That day, don't be in
Mhm.
denial. When you really know, you know.
Mhm. It's interesting. They say this when somebody gets married also.
Oh, wow. I probably wouldn't want to talk about these things then, but at the back of your mind, yes, maybe you should know that, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. When being alone, apart from therapy, what did you feel was therapy or helpful for you to recognize happiness back? So, other than therapy, what is it that helps
Yeah.
you keep happy?
My dog. It's and in no way am I suggesting that people should just get a dog for this reason. Dogs are a huge responsibility. But there was this time when I went out, I came back home, and I don't know, I was just lying on the floor and I was crying. It was middle of the night, and I was just crying. Suddenly, my dog, she walks right up to me. She looks into my eyes. She smiles, and then she starts running around. And I'm like, what happened there? And she's so excited for no reason, and I started laughing. And so those are the little things that she does, and it just makes me happy. It heals me a little bit. Of course, it's healing still is a lot of other things, but in small ways, it does help me. In bigger ways, apart from therapy, what has helped me is working out. Although since last 1 week I've not been going to the gym, but working out, I think it builds a lot of resilience. Also, it releases a lot of happy hormones in your body, which really help you. Eating clean, again, these are things that have been scientifically proven to actually release happier hormones, reduce stress. We cannot stress this enough, right? Things like vitamin B12, D3 deficiencies are very, very common, and these things can actually aggravate your depression. When you are very low on your carbs, it can make you more agitated. So eating right, these are just baseline things for your healing. Talking to friends, and just learning some self-soothing mechanisms. Like for example, one, deep breath, and two, breathe 2 times, you breathe out. Just some grounding activities like that. Sometimes when I'm having panic attacks, it really helps me, and it's a very, very useful trick that everyone should know. If I'm having like a bad panic attack, I will just pause and I will ask myself, Prachi, what are the 5 colors you can see? I'll just name those 5 colors. What are the 2 sounds you can hear? What is one smell or 3 things that you can touch? So when you do these little activities in your brain, it just kind of brings you back to the present, and it's such a great grounding activity. So these little exercises can really help you. You can read up more about it. You can follow my page for tips like that. So yeah, that's what helps you.
Amazing. I didn't know a lot of these things also, so thank you for explaining. Um, okay, my in-laws and husband are manipulative and I know are wanting a divorce. I also feel I can't deal with them. We only live 10 months together though.
Okay. So, okay, help me understand this question. The question is basically that she wants to leave because the in-laws and the husband is manipulative, right?
Are manipulative and I think they are wanting a divorce and she also feels that she can't deal with them and they
Yeah,
only live together for a very limited time.
yeah. See, if it's not working out, and again, like I said, right, if you have tried to work it out, always first try to work it out. If it's not working out, it's okay to leave. It's absolutely okay to leave. Stop worrying about the society. It's totally fine. People will judge you no matter what. You know, so it's definitely a hard decision. Since it's only been 10 months, I'm assuming there are no children there in the picture, so that makes things a lot easier as well. With children, divorce is a lot harder. Not that you should not divorce your spouse just because you're a parent. If you're not happy, you still leave. Yeah, speak to your family, speak to your parents. Like I said, make sure that you're financially independent. There are alimony laws and everything, but those are very, very complicated. And it's just so much easier when you're financially self-sufficient. You can just file for a mutual consent. The divorce proceedings move faster. You get more mental peace. You're not dependent on anyone. It's the best way out. Yeah.
Okay. Um, okay, so I think one of the interesting questions also is that some of the women are not financially independent. So what can they do? It
Mm.
seems that there is a mums group, and this is a regular question there.
Yeah. That definitely is a very, very common problem that a lot of women are facing, right? First things first, I would definitely suggest that if you have an option to get back to working, if you have the degree or if there's any way you can make yourself financially independent, please do that before you file for a divorce. Because, like I said, right, yes, we have alimony laws in place and all of that, but what a lot of people don't realize, sometimes these cases can go on for years and years, sometimes even decades, right? There is a good chance that the alimony amount that you'll get will not be sufficient, or and then of course the lawyer fees back and forth with the court. It's also very insulting, to be honest. Sometimes the way these things get handled, because once lawyers take over, courts take over, it gets really nasty. So you want to avoid that mess. You want to be financially independent. If you can do that, take up a job, build a skill. However, if that cannot be done at this point for whatever reason, let's say you're a mom to two kids and they're completely dependent on you and you don't have any support and you need to leave the marriage, then of course you find the best possible lawyer, you build your case, and you take it from there. But the first option should definitely always be that you make yourself financially independent by doing your own job and earning your own money. That's what I would suggest.
Yeah, yeah. I think anything is better than staying in an unhappy marriage for you're not respected, right? You
Absolutely.
will like
Absolutely.
just find inner strength to do whatever it is that we want. And even today in India, getting back to work has become such a big theme. There are a lot of organizations that run a lot of programs for women to come back to work after having taken a long break, and that includes all kinds of education. You may have a master's degree, you may have a bachelor's degree, you may have no degrees of that kind, but
Wow.
there are a lot of organizations that are just like, listen, you want to get back to work and we want to help you do that. So you could pick
Mhm.
up something that is more administrative. You could pick up something that is more that may require a very particular skill that can be built very quickly. So
Yeah.
maybe, yeah, I think there's a lot of support. While it's not as easily available, but it's out there, and I'm sure if one is put in a situation where we're just pushed back to the wall, we will find a way back. So it's okay, guys.
That's
Just
amazing. That's amazing. I've heard of a few of these,
get back to
organizations, but I didn't know it was such a big thing nowadays. Maybe I should do some research, because I get a lot of questions about this.
please,
Then
please.
Prachi, where can I take up a job? Then maybe I could direct my viewers to one of these places as well, if there's
And I'll
something.
send you a few links across because these
Please
are
do.
things that
Please
I
do.
see on LinkedIn as well. So
That's
if
amazing.
that's also a good channel to sort of explore. I'll look that
Yeah.
through with you,
Yeah.
Prachi.
Yeah.
Just one question, one last question, guys. I know there are a lot of questions coming through, but we're just pressed for time. I think somebody had a question where they have cheated on their partner, and
Mm.
that's basically resulted in a pregnancy. So
Mm-hmm.
now they are in a situation where they don't really know what to do. Should they tell their partner? Should they hide and terminate that pregnancy? So that's what the question is.
See, I think keeping the child has to be a very personal choice, because it's not just about the pregnancy and who the father of the child is. It's also about whether you want to be a mom, whether you want to raise a child as well. It's about the future of that child, and there the child has to be the priority, not this. So you really have to ask yourself if you even want to have the child, right? That's the most important question over there. As for telling your partner and everything, look, I feel that people in happy marriages don't cheat. Okay, I'm not justifying cheating. I'm just saying that people who are in happy marriages don't cheat. So clearly, if you have cheated on your partner, even if it was a one night stand, even if it was a drunken thing, it was a choice that you have made. You're clearly not in a marriage where you're happy. And now you also have a child on the way, or if you're about the child, then maybe not. But then still, what you need to understand is that this is not a way to live if you want to be true to yourself. You're constantly going to be fighting your own feelings, fighting your own emotions. You're going to be spending your life with someone that you don't really feel that way for, because this is the partner that you're cheating on. So it's best to call it off. If you decide to terminate your pregnancy, you probably don't have to tell them everything, because that's just going to hurt their feelings. And for anybody who has been cheated on, for that person, it can really hurt their self-esteem, their confidence. It can break them in ways that, we don't talk about this enough. Maybe they'll never recover from it. So you may not have to tell them everything. They deserve to know, but it also hurts them. But leave this marriage with dignity, let it go, because clearly you're not happy. And that's what I would suggest.
Yep. Hopefully that helps. And again, I think for me it's been very eye-opening, Prachi, because I got a very mature perspective from you on looking at relationships and our ourselves in relationships in these really tricky scenarios. I've never really had these conversations, to be honest, and in a safe space like this that we could still create for a lot of women. So thank you. I'm just feeling very like I don't know. It's just touched another uh, part of my core, I guess. So I'm sort of reeling from that. But again, thank you for creating this beautiful space, because I have never seen that there is a space like this where women can come and ask these questions, just trusting so much and feeling like, listen, I can just share this. So congratulations to you on being able to do that. I'm sure it's very meaningful to a lot of people, and I did see a couple of people that I know also. So. Uh, Even sometimes you don't know, people who are close to you need this kind of support. So I guess it's just come out of something very meaningful. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you for having me on Rare Reach. This was so much fun. And yeah, you guys are doing an amazing job at Rare Reach. So just telling all my viewers who are here, do check out their page. And yes, let's stay connected.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. And again, thank you for taking the time. I had a lovely time chatting with you. Lovely time.
Same.
I'm very excited for what we're going to do next. Hint, hint, guys. Please stay connected.
There's something really cool coming up, guys, especially if you're in Bangalore. Keep a watch out.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Lovely. Thank you again, Prachi. Have a lovely evening and more power to you. Lots of love, big hugs, good healing energies. Please keep doing what you're doing. I think it is amazing. It is amazing. And it is real. So yeah.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much. Have a great evening. Thank you guys for joining in. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.